another episode of the Effective Statistician, and today I'm super excited to have Chantelle with me here. How are you doing, Chantelle?
I'm good, thank you, Alexander. How are you?
Very good. You're the first time on the podcast, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name's Chantelle, as Alexander very kindly introduced me, and I am a PhD candidate in health data science, and I work with Alexander on the Effective Statistician.
Yeah, we have worked in the same company for some time, and I'm super happy to have her work on the team, at least part-time. So that's really, really awesome. And one of the big things we are working together on is the Effective Statistician Conference. So we are running now the conference in the third time, but this time we'll actually have a couple of different things. So Chantelle, what are the expectations that people that register for the conference can have?
There's quite a few. So to start off with, we've got a very big variety of topics coming up this year, from the more methodological side to more soft skills like leadership training, from a big variety of speakers from a wide range of organizations. On top of that, we have different software this year to what we've previously used. So one piece of software we're using this year is Hey Summit for the presentations. And then we are using a very cool piece of software called HiHive for the networking and posters. And what HiHive is a virtual environment, a bit like a computer game where you can walk around and interact with other people that are also in the environment. If you were to come up close by to another user within the HiHive space, it would start up a video call where you can start networking. And what this means is that, contrary to what a lot of virtual conferences are, this actually helps networking rather than hinder it. So I'm really excited for that. Another thing that we're having this year in the conference is a lot of competitions to help with interactivity and to really get people excited for the conference and to help with the networking element for those people that may not be that good at networking, to help push them out of their comfort zone. And we've also got quite a few workshops running this year from some pretty exciting people.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. So it's much more than just listening to presentations. We have presentations, we have posters, we have panel discussions, we have live keynotes, and the workshops where you can really kind of interactively learn something. And we have this HiHive space, yes, this networking space, which I'm super excited about. I've used something similar for a conference during the COVID pandemic. So if you have attended the PSI conference, that one of these where, during the COVID time, there was a similar space called wonder.me. However, that company doesn't exist anymore. And HiHive is actually an even better space. So in order to make the networking really easy, you can basically look, for example, for areas where there's a specific sponsor, like you have at different conferences where there would be an exhibition hall and you can move to the sponsor and engage there. Now at the exhibition hall, of course, there would be some kind of, posters or flyers or these kind of things. Of course, we will not have something that is kind of that you can touch, but we will have action points so that you can, for example, look a video about that sponsor or fill out a questionnaire about the sponsor and win something, or learn about different jobs that are open at this sponsor, all kind of different things. And of course, in that area, meet people from that sponsor. So that is super exciting. And we will have these special areas also for talking about, what are things that you are really interested in. So that is one of the things that I always found frustrating at, usual conferences, that where the people that I would love to talk to because they are also interested in, Bayesian designs or in multiplicity or in real world evidence or in HTA or all these kind of different things.
Yeah, I really wish that in in-person conferences, people would hold up little flags with their name saying, "Hi, I'm here." And the High Hive working space is really great for that because you can find them just by searching their name and then go over and start a conversation with them.
Yeah, that is the other nice thing. The bigger the conference, the harder it is to find actually people. And so here, that makes things so much easier. Another change to the conference is actually that we will run it for a very much longer period. Yeah, so the first conference was just one afternoon. Second conference was three-hour sessions, and now we will have 4 days. So I'm super excited about that.
It's definitely a long enough time to get really dug into the stats.
Yeah. And we have a break in between because we choose Thursday and Friday, and then the following Monday and Tuesday. That also, well, I was a little bit selfish for me and my team here, so that puts a little bit of a pause for us in there as well, because it can be quite exhausting to run a conference if you have ever done so.
I also think for attendees, it's a pretty good option as well. If you're like me and you get conference burnout, all the networking, it's quite nice to have the 2 days in between to gather yourself, relax a bit, and then come back full of energy on the Monday.
Oh, that's such a nice point. Yeah, most of us are introverts, so networking all day kind of drains a lot of energy. And yes, then the weekend break will be awesome. Another change is that we will basically span global time zones. What I mean by that is in the first conferences, we run it in the European afternoon, which is US morning times. Now we will have sessions both in the European afternoon and the European morning. So that will also allow us for people that are, let's say, in Asia, maybe even Australia, to dial into it still at a reasonable time. Yeah, so I'm thinking especially kind of India, China, these kind of areas, it will be much better.
Definitely. And I think that's going to help a lot with the worldwide networking as opposed to just sticking with Europe or America separately.
Yeah. Now, and that is really probably the biggest change, is we will not just have invited speakers. So for the first conferences, I only had invited speakers because that, of course, makes things much more easier from my perspective. Now we will also have contributed presenters. So how does that work to become a contributed presenter? Because actually these emails go to Chantelle.
Thanks for asking. So we have advertised that we're open for abstract submission for the conference on our social media platforms. But for anyone listening, if you have an abstract, even if it's one that got rejected from a previous conference or you've presented previously, you can just email it to conference@theeffectivestatistician.com, or alternatively, if you want to reach out to a member of the Effective Statistician on LinkedIn, we'll happily take it there as well.
Yeah. And we also have some volunteers that help with the conference. So if you also want to be a volunteer and help with the conference in terms of organizing additional things, that would also be awesome. Now, in terms of submitting an abstract, there's basically 3 different things you can do. The first is you can submit an abstract for a poster. And yes, we will have posters. That's a little bit unusual for an online conference. But with the High Hive space, it's actually super easy. So we will have a virtual poster session, or probably multiple of these, where then all these posters are action points on the High Hive space, and people can mingle around the poster and speak about the poster, and also, talk with the presenter of the poster. So, well, I can't guarantee that everybody gets a drink. So that is probably something you need to bring for yourself. if you want to enjoy, the typical glass of champagne or something like this during a poster session, you need to bring that yourself. But it still will be quite an enjoyable piece and very, very, very interactive. And of course, if you already have a poster, then that is super easy to recycle. The second option is you can be a presenter of a presentation. And now, if you are presenting for just one presentation, then we will ask you to do an 18-minute video that is pre-recorded. Now, why 18 minutes and why pre-recorded? So first is, well, if you listen to TED Talks, well, that's the length of a TED Talk. That's the first thing. The second thing is that helps us to kind of put a reasonable number of sessions together in a 60 or 90-minute slot. These are the length of the parallel sessions. The second is pre-recorded will take a couple of problems out of the system. So first, Hey Summit will allow then to show the pre-recorded video at a predetermined time. So that takes a lot of stress out of the system in terms of having everything ready. Is my internet connection okay? All these kind of different things. Yeah. Also in terms of time, how am I doing against time? Do I overrun? All these kind of different things. We can take that out. And lastly, and I think this is the best reason, is while you're presenting, so while your former ego basically is presenting, you can engage with the audience. Yeah, you can be, the moderator in the comments. You can, engage with your audience while your former ego presents the recording. Yeah, and that makes it so much fun. Yeah, because as you know, listening to a presentation is one thing. Engaging with the presentation is completely different. Engaging with the presenter is a completely different thing.
It can really throw you off if you see a question pop up while you're trying to present. So I'm quite excited for having this and really being able to engage with the audience.
Yeah, and that is also from an audience perspective. It's super, super nice to be able to actually talk to the presenter. Yeah, of course, you can still then follow up later in the high five space, exchange contacts, all these kind of different things. That will be super easy in a virtual setting. And lastly, so after the poster, the presentation, if you want to go even bigger, you can also submit an abstract for a session. So we have 60 or 90-minute slots, and you can submit a session for these 60 or 90 minutes. And these will be live. Yeah. So you can also do it completely pre-recorded. That's up to you. But these sessions you can actually also do live. And that helps you, for example, if you work within a team, yeah, and all of them want to present about it. Or maybe you have participated in a volume in a book that has many, many different chapters in it. Well, you can have that. Or maybe you have a couple, or you maybe have done a workshop. Yeah, that is yet another thing. If you want to run a workshop, then just tell us, because then we will also put that under the workshop tab. And there, of course, you can do pretty much whatever you want. Yeah, so it could be interactive, all kind of different things. So we want to really make it an exciting experience. And well, the only thing that you need to do is really to send that information to conference@theeffectivestatistician.com. On the homepage of the Effective Statistician, you can also learn more about requirements from an abstract point of view. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. The only thing I had down on my thing was the different types of volunteer opportunities for the conference.
Yeah, to that.
Yeah, so we've got 3 different types of volunteer roles this year. The first is technical support, and the role of the technical support volunteer is to ensure that there's a smooth virtual session and to troubleshoot any technical issues that we have. Then we have the networking facilitators, and the role of them is to guide attendees through the networking space. Not many people are going to have used HiHive before, so it's really to make sure that people are using it in the optimal way. And last but not least, we have the workshop assistants, and they will support the workshop hosts and enhance the attendee interaction and provide communication aids through the various conference communication channels and social media updates. So if you want to get that, please let us know and we'd be happy to have you.
Yeah. And for that, what a surprise. You just send an email to conference@theeffectivestatistician.com.
It's the answer to everything.
That is the answer to everything. Yeah, very, very, very much so. So there's a lot of exciting things you can expect from the conference coming up. And we already have submissions coming in for the abstracts. Now, that is maybe one of the most important things. For many in-person conferences, there are a couple of roadblocks. The first is you need to travel to this conference. So you need budget, you need approval, all these kind of different things. This is an online conference. So you don't need budget, you don't need travel, nothing. Because if you contribute actively to the conference, you get a free slot for the complete thing. Yeah. So that is super important. The second is we don't have any room limitations. Yeah. It's a virtual space. Virtual space is pretty spacey, pretty big. Yeah. So we don't need to limit the number of posters and number of speakers, all these kind of different things, because we have so much space. So what we'll look for is quality. Yeah. The other thing is that has an impact on the timelines. You can basically submit now, get reviewed now, and be accepted for a presenter more or less right away. Yeah. So it's not like with many other conferences where you submit and then you wait for a very, very long time before you get a no or yes. Here we really want to be pretty fast so that you know whether you will be presenting. Yeah. And so please submit as soon as possible. That is maybe also a little bit selfish because we don't want to have all the submissions mid-September when the final deadline is. Yeah. By the way, we didn't mention when the conference is.
Yes, so it's November 7th till the 8th and also the 11th to the 12th.
Yeah, yeah. So that is really, really nice. And I very, very much hope that we'll see from you. Please share it with others. Yeah. Now, finally, maybe one last thing. If you don't want to present anything, you still can register. And there's two ways, or there's actually basically three ways what you can do. The first is you can just register for free. And then you get access to the networking space plus selected presentations. The second is you can register for the price, and that increases over time as we provide more and more information about the conference. So basically, I incentivize those that place a bet on being at a great conference, they pay less, and those that want to have absolute security and know everything about the conference, well, they need to pay a little bit more. So the third thing is you can still also get basically a free complete slot, yeah, even if you're not presenting, if your company or organization sponsors the conference. Yeah. So there are three different tiers for that to sponsor the conference, and you can select from that as a for-profit organization. If you are a non-for-profit organization, yeah, or you volunteer in that, and that can be, don't know, the association of statisticians in whatsoever, yeah, you actually get a free sponsoring. Yeah, so that means that will not include any kind of free slots, but then you get all the benefits to showcase your association in this networking space, on the homepage, all these kind of different things. So you can engage with people that are also coming from your area, also interested in that area. Yeah, so please just reach out to, guess which email? Conference at the Effective Statistician if you want to sponsor the conference. Last thing, now we also have an academic rate. Yeah. So if you are an institution like the data science department XYZ, of course, I want to have people that work in healthcare, the population health, the epidemiology, the biostatistics, the whatsoever kind of center at a specific university, you can also sponsor the conference. And for them, I have very, very low prices on the homepage. Yeah, so this is super attractive. It also follows these 3 different tiers, which I call T-Test, ANOVA, and machine learning. And so you can check these out. That will help you to get lots of people from your university into the conference. And of course, you can always add, further people if kind of the slots in terms of 11, 23, or 48 isn't sufficient. You can always, ask for more, and then we'll get some agreement in place there. Thanks so much. Chantelle, how do you feel about the conference?
I'm super excited, especially since I get to chair with you this year.
Yeah.
And I look forward to reading everybody's abstracts as well. It's been really interesting reading them so far.
Yeah, this will be so fun. I'm also super excited about it. And I'm especially excited about the contributed sessions. I'm really eager for that. Thanks so much for listening to this episode, and please share the word with others. You can, get to this conference for free, really, really, really easy. Yeah. So check out the show notes, check theeffectivestatistician.com, and yes, if you have material, send it to conference@theeffectivestatistician.com.